Things with your cowboy hat on, the president said. Have a cigar, Jim said. I'd be honored to smoke with a fool like you. Meanwhile, Betsy is shopping for a Christmas gift for Christine. Christine had asked for jeans and a shirt with sequins. 8:25 a.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, JR and Ken have breakfast. Now JR takes out Bandit and Kyle's horse, Brownie, for him and Ken to go riding. 10 a.m. Eastern. Jim arrives back at the Georgetown house. He opens the combination to the western entrance. He is vexed by President Clinton's comments about his cowboy hat. President Bush had let him wear the cowboy hat on occasion when on duty, but President Clinton didn't feel that way. An hour behind at the ranch, JR opens his Christmas presents from Ken. Some dice to play 10,000, some chocolate shoes, and Rush Limbaugh's book. He immediately took the book and hid it under his bed so that his father wouldn't find it. Meanwhile, Kyle, Madison, and George are on their way to a cattle auction in Weatherford, Texas. They had left shortly after 7 this morning. 10:25 a.m. Eastern. Betsy and Becky arrive from the shopping and begin wrapping Christmas presents. 9:40 a.m. Central. JR and Ken decided to go for a morning swim. The pool is luckily heated in December. JR recalls his attempts in childhood to go swimming at the pool at the ranch, and it was an outdoor pool at the time, and it was during winter. His father would always grab him out of the shallow end of the pool and bring him back in front of the fireplace to warm up. 11:15 a.m. Eastern. The Hendrick party jump into the car to drive to the Washington Monument. It was 36 degrees and sunny. They would go to a big shopping center afterwards. 10:50 a.m. Central. Despite the wind, it's a nice day, so JR takes Ken for one more time to ride horses. Meanwhile, a list of the pictures. Elizabeth is in the living room inside watching The Price is Right. 11:35 Central. JR is in his room listening to Andrew House. William Jefferson Clinton. He is courting White House press corps. But by now, some of the press is skeptical of what he can do. I don't blame them. 12:15 p.m. Central. JR and Ken's festivities begin in the Springfield living room. JR plays a memory tape of last year's Christmas party at Jim Bob's, where JR and Brad were teasing each other gently. Just don't think things will ever be the same, JR said. Not so long as Brad is being stuffy and talking against me, Ken said. We can party just as well without them, JR said. 1:20 p.m. Eastern. The women had gone and gotten facials, while Jim, Claude, and Greg went and got massages. Now, they were in a daytime club, enjoying the ambiance. 1:30 p.m. Central. The servants bring in sandwiches and finger foods, such as cookies and fudge. JR and Ken designed to play a dice game of 10,000. Ken is ahead, 3,800 to 1,000. $3:10 p.m. Eastern. The Hendrick party arrives at the Hendrick estate in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. The servants had packed their things, and they would leave at 4:43 for the airport toward a 5:32 p.m. flight back home to Midland. 4:43 p.m. The Hendrick party leaves the Georgetown estate and head towards Washington International Airport, where they would take their flight back to Midland. 5:10 p.m. Eastern. Jim and his party board the Sanders private jet. They would take them back to Midland, Texas. 5:32 p.m. Eastern. The Sanders jet taxis down the runway and departs from Washington, D.C. to Midland International Airport. It was to be Jim's last trip to Washington, D.C. for the year. Meanwhile, an hour behind, JR and Ken ordered pizza for delivery. Ken agreed to drive home at 7:30 so that JR could be alone with his parents when they came back. Also, Kyle, Madison, and little George have been 2 hours out of Weatherford after selling a whole head of cattle. They should be back the same time as Jim and Betsy would be home. 8:30 p.m. Jim and Betsy arrive home. Jim summons JR to the kitchen table. "So you had the party here today," Jim said. "How could you defy me?" "Look, Daddy," JR said calmly. "It was just me and Ken." 9:30 p.m. In the living room, Elizabeth corners Jim. "Let's remember something, please," Elizabeth said. "This is still my ranch, and I don't think it's fair that you allow Kyle and his wild parties and won't let JR have a civil party." "That's not your business," Jim said, walking away. Betsy walks towards her mother. "The president deflated his ego earlier today. Cut him some slack." "The president, bless his little pointed head. As for your husband, he acts like that JR is going to leave here and not want to come back. Mark my words. He continues like that, it'll happen. Come on. Little technical difficulties, but now we get back to the story. December 24th, 1993, 8 a.m. JR wakes up and begins dressing. His father and brother are already gone to a cattle auction in Fort Stockton to buy a herd of cattle. Betsy is pitching hay and wheat for the animals. Last night's dressing down by his father really hurt JR. But that was a 6 a.m. Okay. 6:20 a.m. JR goes downstairs to the living room to find his grandmother sitting by the fireplace. You know, sometimes I hate your daddy, Elizabeth said. It's okay for him and Kyle to have their wild parties, but not for you to have a civil one. You can relax, Grandma, because once I go back to school, I'm staying there for a while. Don't keep going hanging around with Brad and Jim Bob all the time. Stick with your other school friends. Surely, Grandma, you don't have a problem with Ken. I favor him a lot better than Jim Bob and Brad. I would agree with your daddy if those two came. But they won't ever darken the door of this ranch anymore. 8:15 a.m. Eastern. In the Oval Office, President Clinton is talking with his wife, Hillary. I'm more nervous about the Hendrick appointment. Don't you worry about him. He's just a hayseed cowboy. I wouldn't put my doubt in a man like that. And I wouldn't trust him, Hillary said. What in the hell are you talking about? Hendrick is going to get to you, Bill. The president cut her off. No, he's not. You don't think? You don't realize? That you're appointing a conservative? I'm trying to court favor with conservatives, Hillary. Because the Whitewater. Okay? We're in deep crap. Don't like appointing this hayseed cowboy with a temper. Sure, he acts dignified in public,